Hello everyone, welcome to PUC Online Classroom. Today we are going to continue our lesson, okay? And the first activity that I'm going to talk about is activity number 3, conversation. I run every day. So this activity is about listening so that you can refer to the listening audio that I attached. So you're going to listen to Aaron and Riley, okay? So they are talking about their everyday sport. So let's find out about it too. And after you've done this, you're going to listen to the rest of the conversation and answer to this question. All right, as you can see right here, it seems like they have two different activities. So this person just, so you have to find out Aaron, I guess. So Aaron loves what? Watching TV, as you can see the remote control right here. But Riley is different, so she loves to do some kind of sport and exercises. She's lift she's doing weight lifting, okay, or weight training. All right, so you just listen to this activity and answer to the question. All right, so you need to find out what else does Riley do in her free time. So that is Riley, so that you need to find out an answer to the question by listening to that. Okay, so when you finish this, so that you can move on to number 4, grammar focus, adverbs of frequency. All right, so what is adverb of frequency? So they are just adverbs, and they tell us about how often they people do something. Okay, it's about 100% or every day or one times a week. Okay, or usually or never, things like this. Okay, so these are adverb of frequency. How frequent? How, let's say, how many times you do a certain activity. Okay, so in this lesson we're going to focus on some adverbs and also the expression that tell us about the frequency. As you can see the table right here, we have from 100 to 0%, and here are adverbs of frequency. All right, so we have always, almost always, usually, often, sometimes, hardly ever, almost never, okay, and never. So it's pretty has some time to find out about the between right here. But anyway, let me presume that always is about 100%, almost always is 90%, usually is 80%, often is 60%, sometimes is 40%, and hardly ever, and almost never right here. Well, in some grammar books, uh, they explain that these two are the same, not really different. But in this book, they are a little different, okay? But I will put these two into 20%, all right? So I will make it, um, yeah, I don't want to say the same. As you can see right here, hardly ever is a little bit higher than almost never. But if you compare this to the other grammar books, so they actually is 20%, okay? But because in this book they introduce us a little different, so that maybe you can say hardly ever is 30% and almost never is 20%, okay? But if you compare this book to the other books, mostly they will say these two are the same. So but let's make it different, okay, in terms of the percentage right here based on this book. So hardly ever, maybe you can make it 30%, and this one 20%. All right, and never 0%. Okay, once again, this is about 100%, 90%, 80%, 60%, 40%, 30%, 20%, and let's say 0%, which is about never. So you know the percentage, right? So how we how we can place, so we need to know how we can place them in a sentence. As you can see right here, uh, most of the time we use adverb of frequencies right here in between the subject and a main verb. As you can see, I often watch, I sometimes watch, forget this one, I will explain this one later, I hardly ever, and I never watch. Okay, so when you see the verbs like this, okay, which is not about verb to be, so it is before that verb. Okay, but what if we have verb to be? Let's say I am a student, or I am late. Okay, So you cannot say I usually late. Sorry, you cannot say I usually am late. You have to say I am usually late. All right, so except verb to be, everyone. So verb to be is different from the other verbs right here. So when you see the verb which is not verb to be, you have to put adverb of frequency before that main verb, just like this example, I often watch. But if you see something like verb to be, okay, I am late, so that you can say I am usually late. Understand that? I am often late. I am sometimes late. But actually, we can use adverb of frequency before to be, but in your level, they just focus only after to be, okay? So you just stick to the objective of your lesson. So when you see verb to be, and if you want to use this with verb to be, you have to use after verb to be. But if the verb is not verb to be, then you can use before that verb, okay? All right, so you know how you can place them. But we have some kind of exception right here. We have adverb usually and sometimes can begin a sentence. So when you happen to see this two, everyone, so you can use in the front, okay? Or you can use in between the subject and a main verb right here. So you can say sometimes I watch TV, or I sometimes watch TV. You can see that. All right. Usually you can say I usually watch TV before bed, or you can say usually I watch TV before bed. You see that? So only these two. You cannot use the others. All right. You can use only these two in our lesson. Okay. So besides adverb of frequency right here, we can use time expression like every day, once a week, twice a month, 3 times a year to talk about the frequency. Okay, so we need to answer to the question of how many days. Let's say every day, once a week, twice a month. Once a week means 1 time a week, 2 times a month, 3 times a year. All right, very often things like this. So beside, as you can see right here, besides adverb of frequency, we can use time expression right here to express about how often you do a certain activity, okay? So every day, just like always, you can use always instead. You can say I run on the treadmill every day, or you can say I always run on the treadmill. Okay, so every day means 100%, okay, always, so that you can use every day or you can use always. All right. Okay, and you can see once a week, we can say 1 time a week if you want to. Sorry. And yeah, that's it. And if you want to answer to the question, all right, you can use either time expression right here, or you can use adverb of frequency. But when you place adverb of frequency, you need to make sure where to place them, where to put in a sentence, okay? It can be in between the subject and a verb, okay? Unlike usually and sometimes, we can use at the beginning, all right? Okay, so that's it for this, everyone. And for time expression right here, you have to use at the end of the sentence. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. You can say, once a week I go jogging. It seems to be weird, all right? So strange you use that. So instead of using in the front, so you have to use at the end, okay, of the sentence with some kinds of these expressions, all right? So let's try exercise all together. Put the adverbs in the correct place. Sometimes there is more than one correct answer, and practice with a partner. So when you say more than one correct answer, just like we have many different places, but actually not many, it's just only one or two. All right, so let's begin with the first one. Do you play sports? So ever is an adverb, and what I explained earlier is about we use adverb of frequency, all of this, where before the main verb. So where is the main verb? Play is the main verb, so you can say, do you ever play sports? Sure, I play soccer, and then we have twice a week, so you can say I play soccer twice a week. All right, but you cannot say I twice a week play soccer. Okay, so because this is a time expression, you cannot use it. you can only use at the end of the sentence. Okay. Number 2, what do you do on Saturday mornings? Morning right here with us, so we can say it is every morning. Okay, every Saturday morning. So the main verb is do right here, so you can say what do you usually do? Okay, nothing much. I sleep until noon. Okay, almost always. So where's the main verb? Sleep right here. So you can say I almost always sleep. Okay, I almost always sleep. Number 3, do you lift weights at the gym? So we have the adverb often. So you can say, do you often lift? Okay, so often is in between, let's say before a main verb right here. If it is a positive sentence, then it should be in between subject and a main verb. As you can see right here, even the question is also subject and main verb as well. Okay. No, I lift weights. So you can say, I hardly ever lift weights. Number 4, do you exercise on Sundays? So every Sunday with S here means every Sunday. So you can say, do you always exercise on Sundays? All right. And then no, I exercise on Sundays. Then you can say never. I never exercise on Sundays. All right. Let's go to number 5. What do you do after class? So you can say, what do you usually do after class? And you can say, I go out with my classmates about 3 times a week. So you can say, I go out with my classmates. And then before full stop, you can say about 3 times a week. So you can put this at the end of the sentence. All right. 6, do you go to the movies? And then we have the adverb often. You can say, do you often go to the movies? And then the answer yes. And then you can say, I go to the movies once a week. All right, once a week. 7, do you go bike riding? Then you can say, do you ever go bike riding? Then you can say, no, I ride a bike. And then you can say, I hardly ever, because hardly ever is given. So you can say, I hardly ever ride a bike. Number 8, do you walk to school? So sometimes. So you can say, do you sometimes walk to school? But remember, sometimes can be used in the front, right, at the beginning of the sentence. But if it is a question, you cannot say sometimes. Do you walk to school? You cannot say that. You have to put in between. Okay. Even though sometimes and usually can be used in 2 ways: one in the front, one in between the subject and a verb. But in this case, it is a question, so you have to use in between. So, do you sometimes walk to school? Sure, I walk to school. Then you can say 5 days a week. So, I walk to school 5 days a week. All right, hopefully you get the answer for this. And if you have any question, especially about adverbs of frequency, then you can leave me a question in our Telegram group chat. All right. And so next session, I will talk more about this activity. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. Once again, if you have questions, leave your question in our Telegram group chat, and I will answer to your questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye.